All right, welcome back, everyone, for my new Wednesday watch list. This is my weekly look at the new comic books coming out this new comic book day, this time Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. So these are some of the books that kind of caught my eye, whether they be selling for a premium already, some covers that I like, some weird, interesting things that I'm looking out for this upcoming new comic book day. So hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing this channel. And if you want to see this week's books, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, we ain't gonna play around this week. It's the end of the month, so it's actually not a big list, as you guys may or may not be aware. Fifth week of the month, a lot of times it's a short week. Like DC in particular, you won't generally see a lot of regular issue runs. They'll just save the fifth week for like annuals and specials and one-offs. So this could be a little bit of an odd week, but that doesn't mean there aren't books for us to take a look at. So with that all said, let's start in with my buzz books for this week. So these are some of the books that I consider a little bit buzzworthy heading into this, new comic book day Wednesday. And we're going to start off with, well, the Energon verse, because I, for one, am still enjoying it quite a bit, and I am looking forward to Duke #2. I didn't think I wanted a Duke, mini series, but now that I got it, I like it. I like the first issue at least. So let's see how they follow through with issue 2. A couple of covers here, not a ton. Thankfully, we're not getting an overabundance of covers here. We got a cover A. There is also a cover B that's being released with this as well. So, pick your poison, which one you like. And then there are a few variants if you are interested in picking those up. There is a pretty cool one in 25, which I had to get because it's Stalker and it has that throwback, kind of vibe to the, toy line with the, with the, the box, the card art. I'm drawing a blank here, but you know what I'm trying to say. There's also a 1 in 10 and a 1 in 50 as well if you want to go to those ratios. None of these are selling above ratio right now, and I don't know if they, really will. But like I said, I just like Stalker a lot. He was one of my favorites when I first started collecting GI Joes, and I wanted to get this cover, so I got one for myself. But that's just for the PC. And again, you can find these generally for ratio or less, even if you look online, even today. Apart from Duke, we are getting another installment in the business card series of American Psycho. How quickly people seem to have forgotten about these. You remember Patrick Bateman, that #1, that 1 in 10 was all the rage for a while, and then people kind of forgot about it. And then we started to get the rest of these. There's only 4 going to be coming, and this is just a cover price book, but one that may be tough. I know that second one became a little bit tough for people to find an actual like LCSs and had to look online for options, where again it mostly just sold for cover price, but just something to keep an eye on, as this might be something that people have slipped their minds and then they missed ordering it for themselves, thinking ahead. So this is the David Van Patten card, and again this is the third of the 4 planned business cards for this set. So if you want to be a set collector, make sure you don't miss this one too. Up next, we do have Wolverine #42, continuing Sabretooth War Part 2. This has been bloody so far, and I expect it to be even worse as we go on. So, interesting story. We'll see how this goes and plays out. Pretty cool covers here. As you can see, we got Wolverine's head on a plate with some candles on the cover A. There's also a Stormbreakers cover, as well as a Scott Williams variant there, kind of celebrating the Sabretooth costumes. Like they're doing a run of the different looks that Sabretooth has had throughout his run. And this is more the 90s look, back when Scott Williams was inking Jim Lee. But 50 years of Wolverine continues to roll on. And these are a couple of regular variants that you can get for cover price. There's another one. We'll get to that one a bit later when we hit up other segments where that fits a little bit better. But we also have a 1 in 100, which is a virgin version of that cover A, as you can see. No actual pre-sales that I tracked as of yet, but asking prices well under that 1 in 100 ratio. Look, they're looking for $72 and $80 from a couple of sellers. So not looking good for the 1 in 100, but that's not why we're here today. Marvel's been throwing out a lot of these 1 in 100s, and not many of them have been sticking. Occasionally, a couple do sell, but most of the time we're looking at books like this where it's under ratio, especially a lot of the X-Men books, because print runs are high, demand isn't quite there. So they just kind of fall a little flat, if you want to call this flat. It's still like $80 for a new release book, which is something that I don't feel comfortable doing on a week-to-week basis, but some people do. That said, the 1 in 100 may not be the gem of this book, but there is one in the form of the 1 in 25, which is an X-23 Art Adams. I know, I've seen the online criticisms as well, bobblehead, look how big her head is, etc. I don't mind it. I like this. I ordered one just for myself because I liked it. I like Art Adams. I've been liking these variant covers he's been doing lately. Again, it seems the girls hit and the guy ones miss. We saw Magneto last week. Didn't do anything. But X-23, bloody cover. This one, pre-sales already, 60, 65-ish, $90. And I did check that those are the sale prices from all I can that I can see. It looks like those, as long as the sale kind of was completed, we would assume, but it's not like a best offer situation where it looks like 90 and it's really 50. No, looks like 65 to $90. Some of these recent sales, asking prices are looking for like $70. Somebody's pre-selling a 9.8 for $300, and there's a raw asking a crazy $200 price. Apart from these, there's a handful of, and when I say handful, it's like 3 or 4 auctions that are kind of going on. But even those are all like in the $50 to $60 range already, with like 6 days left. So who knows where they're going to end? I didn't put them up here because, again, it's going to be stale information by the time you go looking. So check online places if you can. Even Midtown, I believe, is sold out, and they were asking I think at least double ratio even at the start. So it's one of those things where demand is kind of high and the supply might not be there, but we'll see as the week goes on. But this one looks like an early winner as far as if you can go and score one from your LCS for a decent price, you might be able to, flip it come new Comic Book Wednesday, if that's what you would decide to do. I know some of you guys out there do like to do the Wednesday Warrior thing and find this helpful, so I'm not going to fault you for it. I used to do it back in the day. I just don't have the energy or the time for that hustle anymore. So I can't be running to like 5 or 6 LCSs to grab a book for cover price to try to flip it for like $10, $12 when they get hot the week that comes out. It's just, I just don't, like I said, don't have the time to do it. They used to be fun, and I get it. I'm not going to fault anybody for doing it. You want to hustle? Go and hustle. All I'm saying is if you can find this X-23 and you find it at a good price, you may do all right for yourself this week. But this is what we're looking at as early returns, at least. And while these are on the buzz side of things, I'm probably going to read all of these, even the American Psycho. But Duke and Wolverine especially, I'm probably going to read as part of my reading books this week. But we also have some other books that I have as part of my reading pile. And these are going to be those books that I put at the top once I get my new books on Wednesday and sometimes Thursday. Sometimes I got to wait an extra day because, work doesn't allow me to run out to the shop. And I know you guys, probably some of you are in the same boat too. You got a day job, you got to do work comes first, work and family first, and then we can enjoy our hobby. But once I do get to my books, these are the things I'm going to put at the top of the pile to read, starting off with World Tree, number 7. To be fair, I haven't read this since it's come back yet. I know we've already covered it, and I probably put World Tree number 6 at the top of the pile, but now 6 and 7 are going to be there because I definitely have to catch up before I get too far behind. So I am planning on reading these probably back to back this week as, like I said, I don't want to get too far behind. And I'm kind of curious where this story is going to continue on to. So James Tynion, World Tree, number 7, out this week. It doesn't have the momentum it had in that first run, it seems, here in, the second arc, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be a good read. And there are a couple of covers. This is the cover A. We do have a cover B that is also available for you if you're interested there. And only a couple of incentives. Yes, there's still store exclusives for this book out there. You buy them at your leisure, but I would not be investing in store exclusive of any kind. Just get the ones you like if you really like them that much. But other than that, these things, don't generally hang in there for very long. With that said, there is a 1 in 10 and a 1 in 25, as you can see here. And if you're interested, go ahead and grab those. Neither of them are doing anything yet on the aftermarket, not like that X-23 cover we just looked at, but still worth looking at, still worth noting, so these are options if you are, that into World Tree. Up next, I am still enjoying the Hulk run. So Philip Kennedy Johnson's Hulk run, still liking it. We got this, World War II-ish or whatever it is. This throwback Ghost Rider. It's still pretty cool, and this is a pretty cool cover here on the cover A. We do have another cover, but we'll cover that a little bit later. And there is a 1 in 25 variant here. But I'm not in love with this. It's kind of distracting. When I look at it, all I can think of is this.
Take a look at the bowing, bitch!
Ooh, it's so veiny.
Now, I don't know if many of you guys are familiar with that movie, but they used to play a game with. Anyway, the veiny bit, that's all I could think of when I saw this. I just see the veins. It just looks silly to me. But if you're interested, go ahead and grab yourself a 1 in 25. I don't think it's necessary. These are the types of things, though, that get weirdly collectible down the line, because we're talking about issue 8 here. If you get later in the run, those later run kind of incentives, there aren't as many because print runs start to die down. This isn't an issue 1 or 2. This is issue 8. So don't know if there's many people still on board with reading this. So it's the kind of thing just keep an eye on. But that said, still not loving the look of this. Just saying. But there it is. Thought about putting this in our WTF section later, but kept it here in the reading pile because I do like this Hulk run. Also, some things I'll probably check out this week that I didn't put in the reading pile because they are new number ones are a couple of books here. Yeah, might check them out, might flip through them. Not 100% guaranteed like this. Not guaranteed to pick up this Trinity special because I'm just not that interested in the character, to be honest. I just don't really care. But yeah, that's just me. Maybe they'll do something interesting that'll draw me in at some point. But for right now, not really into it. But DC is giving us this special. I'm believing it's kind of partly probably reprints of some of the early appearances stuff. I don't know. It could be new stories. I honestly don't know because, again, I'm personally just not that interested. But I still put it in here for anyone who is, because there are covers if you are, still into collecting, Wonder Woman covers. We have the cover A. It's not terrible. The B is pretty good. There's also a C cover here, also for cover price that you can get. I think there's like $6. So looking at $6 cover here, and a couple of incentives, 1 in 25 and a 1 in 50. Yeah, good but not great. The Mitch Gerards actually kind of reminded me a lot of the Nakayama, the color bleeds that he does, but it's not a Nakayama. It's Mitch Gerards. But it doesn't hold a patent to the idea, so we can see other people doing like negative spaces and similar type books here and there. So if you're interested, there they are. But once again, not really doing anything as far as selling at a premium. So they are where they are, ratio and less if you're interested. Another new number one coming out is another Dynamite book. So you're going to be getting a pile of covers. I'm only going to share with you the regular cover price versions because every one of these has they're also mixed in with incentives. They're like, virgin versions, recolored black and white versions, etc. Dynamite, too many covers for me to go over. So you're just getting a taste. So Lilo and Stitch, number one. Fan favorite for a lot of kids. Not for me. Again, this is after my time. So it was after my time and before my son's time. So this really one doesn't hit for me, but I know it does for a lot of others out there. So some cool covers, though. We have this regular cover A, means fine. There is a David Nakayama there as well. I am a big David Nakayama fan, so it did catch my eye that he's doing a Lilo and Stitch cover. Pretty cool, almost like a landscape kind of vibe there on the left. And then we have the color bleed as well. All solid covers. And again, there's multiple versions of these out there too. So keep that in mind as well. Apart from this, I will probably check out this next book just because I'm kind of curious, even though I don't know much about their creator. But Kid Cudi, I think it's Cudi, presents Moon Man #1. So I don't know. Kind of curious. It looks kind of interesting in an image. This is the cover A. Multiple covers here as well, as we got B's and C's at a regular cover price, and then we got a bunch of incentives available as well, including I would have thought a 1 in 10, but it looks like there's a 1 in 20, a 1 in 25, and a 1 in 50. And then there was also a Bill Sienkiewicz 1 in 100, which well, there's that. I don't know how many. Well, actually, there probably will be a decent number of places that have the 1 in 100 because there are a couple of store exclusive I've seen out there. You get the emails, you get the advertisements for stuff like, hey, buy our exclusive. And, that's fine. It's just they're going to have a couple of these too because, they've got all their covers. But with that said, we'll keep an eye on the 1 in 100. The rest of them are ratio and less for right now. but the 1/100 is kind of right around there. We'll see where it's going to go. Early sales in that like 200, 230. Like those are early pre-orders from a couple months back. Don't know if those hold or will even be followed through on. And then you get a little closer, like the 1 in 25, 1 in 30. So it's just over ratio on the more recent sales. And then even the asking prices, while there is the random 175 ask out there, a lot of them are in that 100 to 130 range. So just like ratio and a little bit above. It's what people are asking. We'll see if those start selling and what happens come Wednesday. But again, just something to keep an eye on, something to be mindful of to see where this one goes. But right now, not a lot of movement, and it's still like right there on the fringes, for us. But moving on, another new X-Men title. Yep. So X-Men, I'll have to get this. The Dead X-Men. So interesting crew going back to the whole Krakoa and all of the returned X-Men that's gone through. All right, kind of a fun little idea. As we do follow through on this Fall of the House of X, but we do have a cover A. There is a cover B here that's not bad. Off of that cover B, there is a 1 in 100 incentive because, again, Marvel can't get enough of these 1 in 100 virgins lately. But like the Wolverine before it, no actual pre-sales, though the asking prices on this one, $200. I don't know. Think they might be fishing there. Don't know if that's actually going to come through, but I mean, as you can see, no sales yet, but at least three listed right now, and all looking for double ratio. So good luck to them.
Let's go fishing.
I don't know. We'll see what happens as the week goes on. That said, I do kind of like the 1 in 25, and I actually did order one for myself just because, well, I still like Jubilee. I remember when Jubilee came around. That's when I was collecting, Jim Lee stuff in the 90s. She was supposedly being the last X-Man at the time. You remember those stories? Bishop from the future said she would be the last X-Man, but we know that's not true. But we do have this Lyrics Lee cover on the 1 in 25, which, okay, it's not moving for a ton, but still worth keeping an eye on. Yes, there have been some sales under ratio. Look, that one for $19, a couple above at like 30, one down there early also for 15. So who knows where this one's going to shake out, but it's just worth looking at because the asking prices right now are looking for like 30, 40, $55. Once those start selling, maybe that's where this book lands. Otherwise, it may just, kind of fall by the wayside and just be a book that you can get for ratio or less. Not sure yet, but it's worth watching. So that's why we have the watch list to see what happens. These are just early pre-sales. Can't put too much stock in them because FOMO can be a powerful thing, and we can see some crazy high prices and then nothing. So, again, one thing to watch. So while I look at the early pre-sales and some of the recent pre-sales, it's really not until release day that I start thinking this is where a book's true momentum lies. Because once people actually have it in hand or can get it in hand by going to their store, that's when you see where the real demand is. Because everything before that is just scratch-offs, really. I mean, people taking a shot and hoping. But, that all said, we do have another Marvel book coming out here, a new number 1 at least. I mean, with Marvel Voices, Legends number 1. So looks like they're getting an early jump with this one for Black History Month, which is just starting later this week. So we have only regular covers, no incentives here. So we have a cover A, pretty solid. Then we got a Black Panther cover here. There's a B, there's a Deathlock, and then there's a Luke Cage, which is actually kind of silly. I don't know why, just a goofy look on Luke Cage's face. I'm not in love with that last one, but the others, not bad. Not bad. Like the Deathlock looks like one of those Hildebrand cards that they've been doing the Marvel Masterpieces on. And then it's just pretty cool, Black Panther there in the middle. Then you got Goofy Grin on Luke Cage. So that one, not so much. But, get whichever one you like. With that said, I think I got one more book in the new number 1s for you, and that is this Oni Press book, Jill and the Killers. I tried to read up on what this is about, and it seemed kind of mildly interesting. You got like a murder game or something like that, and it's all too real. We'll see. Pretty interesting cover here as well. The cover A is not bad. You got the whole, I'm getting like a Only Murders in the Building kind of vibe here. And then we have a pretty cool Marguerite Sauvage, I believe, on the left. And then another one with the car sunken in a quarry, it looks like. Then we got incentives as well, from a 1 in 10, a 1 in 20, and a 1 in 50, which a couple of these, as you can see, are like virgin and or black and white versions of the other covers. Regardless, I don't know how many shops are going to be ordering 50 copies of an Oni Press book. So some of these, and again, I didn't even bother doing a deck because, yeah, I didn't see any pre-sales or any asking prices on the higher ratio end of this book, but could be a tough one to find. Just saying. So if you're really into it, you get it, you read it, and you like the story, come Wednesday, maybe go back on Thursday and grab that high ratio if you get it, because you might not see it again. But it's just one of those things. Just because something's rare, though, doesn't mean that it's automatically going to be worth money, because there has to be demand. And regardless of, there's only like 100 copies. If only 50 people care, it doesn't matter if there's 100 copies. That means you got 50 extras lying around because there's only 50 people care. You know what I'm saying? So always just be mindful of that when you don't just think, well, it's going to be hard to find. Yeah, but hard to find doesn't always equate to value. Not always. You got to meet in the middle. Supply and demand. That's what this market's all about. That said, moving on. Homage section. So we have our homage covers. And again, I pushed off a couple of books. Didn't show them in their earlier segment because, well, they fall here because this is the final week for the Wolverine variants. So, Wolverine through history, doing homages to some classic covers. Here's where that Hulk book, like I said, there was a pretty cool cover A with that Ghost Rider, the old school Ghost Rider there. And then we have this Hulk 1 throwback with Wolverine. Pretty cool. And then you have the veiny 1 in 25. Yeah. This was pretty cool, though. I kind of like this. We also have an Infinity Gauntlet throwback here on Avengers Incorporated number 5. This is the last issue of Avengers Incorporated, by the way. I guess just the sales were not there. So I also admit I fell off. I was interested. I was like, ooh, detectives, getting kind of like a hard-boiled, kind of noir vibe, Wasp and Victor Shade. And yeah, I read the first issue and then I kind of forgot about it. So to be fair, I guess I also, like the rest of us, are all partly to blame of this early cancellation, as number 5 is now it for this series. I am not in love with this next one. Kevin Eastman doing a New Mutants 98. Yeah, granted, it's no Hitch book from last week, but I'm not in love with this one either. Just saying. But there it is. If you are interested, I do think it's kind of funny he gave all the Deadpools the hair, the crazy Liefeld hair. But yeah, it is what it is. And then our final book is an homage we can't get enough of, or maybe we've had more than enough. An ASM 300 on Spider-Boy number 3. Granted, it's a well-done version of it. It's kind of cool. You get the cool vibe. You got the Snicks in the background. But still, been done. And done. And done. And done. A book that's not been done, I don't know if it's ever been homaged or not, is this next one. But Local Man is giving us some interesting image homages, and Shadowhawk number 4. Why not? This is part of their series where I think it's the artist homaging themselves, I think, or something like that. I forget what they call it, but it's still kind of fun. It's something, like I said, you don't see very often. And they also have an Image Zero, which I don't know if you guys remember this. You had to mail away for this one. But Image Zero also homage here on Local Man number 9. So, kind of cool. And going to Ribbon Queen, giving us another horror movie poster homage as well. So this time we're getting Dead Alive done on this one. Pretty cool. Pretty interesting. If you're a fan of either product, you got a good book to go and grab. But, yeah, I got to draw a line, so I can't get every homage that's out there because just no room to collect all this stuff. Kind of cool. It's cool to look at, but I don't need to keep up all the ribbon. Just saying, for my own personal collection, I'm probably not getting the Ribbon Queen. But if you like it, go get it. Later print. Do have some later printing. So if you missed out on the first time, or you just really like these new covers, these are more books that you can go and spend your money on. And they're really trying my patience with some of these books because, man, they won't stop reprinting them. If you really want to be a completionist and get like all the printings on some of these things, they're really testing you. First up, not so bad. Second print, Batman 428. We're getting the Robin Lives story. You know, so it's just black and whitish kind of version of the original. Yeah, fine. Then there's another version if you want to set, because we need options apparently now with our second prints, so we have two. You got this one. He's alive though. It's not. Ramen got blown up, but he made it this time. That's the basis of this story. But that said, there's two options for second prints. Not liking these multiples either. Like, just take it easy. Stop pushing all the reprint stuff. I don't need incentives. I don't need multiple versions. Just whatever. Don't want to get on my my soapbox right now. Moving it on. I do like this John Boy cover. I liked it initially. I do kind of like this colorway on this one. That's just more on the grayish bluish side. It's a little bit colder, but I kind of dig it. This is Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong number, what is this, 3? The second print. So I'm glad they chose this cover to do for the second print on, because like I said, this John Boy is really cool, in my opinion. So I think that's a good one. I might get, just because I like the cover again. But again, it's what we're talking about. So they get another $5 out of me for buying a second print of a book I don't need a second print of, because I have the first print. So why do I need? I don't know. Sometimes they get me though. So maybe we'll see. This is kind of when I'm walking around, flatten, even out the pile, add two more books here or there. Might be an add-on. Not 100%. Could be an add-on. If you missed out on Animal Pound, you got your shot here to get this Boom book, number 1, second print of this Animal Pound series. And sticking with Boom, if you missed out on their other series, this Pine and Merrimack, it's like a husband and wife team. I think one's like an ex-cop and they form a detective agency or something. I didn't read this yet, but this is the opportunity to get it. Do you like me? If you do want to check it out. Second print on number 1 also coming out this week. And here's what I'm getting to with, man, they're really trying and testing me, because I do like collecting this G.I. Joe stuff and Transformer stuff, and they're just really throwing it back out there. Issue 302. Pretty fun. I mean, it's an interesting cover. You got Snake Eyes going, rappelling down the window outside there, a couple of Cobra infantry. That's fine. Second printing. Don't know if I'll have to grab it. I kind of still just want to get it just to be a completionist, but just don't think I can afford to be a completionist of all these books, because we get things like, Void Rivals number 2 of 5th printing. We had that 6th printing last week for number 1. Now number 2 is getting a 5th printing. Well, that's not enough. Well, let's go to 4th print here on number 3, because, well, we need a 4th printing. I get it. People are still buying. I'm glad people are still interested, still buying, and still reading. I just hope that's the case, that these are more newer readers buying these later printings and getting on board, and not just all of us who are already reading it trying to be completionists buying all these printings up, because we just can't stop ourselves. I mean, I feel like that's what happened with Something Is Killing the Children. I don't think it was like they were adding all these newer readers by doing all these later printings. I just felt it was all the same collectors buying every printing, because they wanted to make sure they didn't miss out on that hard to find last one. So 4th print for number 3. 3rd print for number 4. Shockwave, pretty cool. I like the purple here. 3rd print for number 5. You got the Quintessence. Also kind of cool. Wouldn't mind getting all these, but man, look, that was like a whole retread of books I already own, and we just have another 5 of them for like $4 a piece. It's like another $20. I just don't know if I can do it. With that, we are going to end our later print segment with actually where we normally start with the facsimiles, but I'm going to end with it today, and for a very good reason. Facsimile of Amazing Spider-Man 252. Okay. I mean, there's been reprints of this before. There's a Toy Biz one. There's copies to go out there and look for. But if you want the facsimile, you want it on the newer paper, etc., go for it. Go ahead, grab it. You don't have one of the originals? Absolutely. Go get this. If you really want to spend even more, you can shell out $9 and get the foil version of this, because, well, we all need a shiny one too, right? Not even going to hate on this. Even I'm not getting this. But I know there's fans and there's collectors of this. You like your shiny books. You want to pay the extra for it. Have at it. Go ahead. Not going to fault you for it. It's just not going to be me, because I'd rather waste money on those later printings, because I just have to try to be a completionist. But with that said, they didn't stop here. And it's not even they have a blank cover, which I would have been fine with. They had to do something that's bringing me back to
WTF, Gary. WTF. What the fuck does
WTF me?
What the fuck?
Oh,
That's right. WTF. Why on earth do we need to incentivize a facsimile reprint? We do not need 1 in 25s on second printings, third printings, etc. We do not need 1 in 25s on facsimile reprints where you change the cover art. That defeats the purpose of it being a facsimile. Facsimile is an exact copy, or as close to it as possible. You change the cover, you're just doing another reprint. I don't know. You would think these would even be expensive because people want it, but they're not even expensive. So please stop buying them, please. Stop making these. I don't like it. Next one that's in this segment just kind of confuses me. To be fair, I should still probably be reading this. I think I've checked out issue 1, but Batman Off-World, tell me if I should be reading this. Because I just look at the cover and I go, what in the hell is going on here? We got Batman in space riding a I don't know, a Steppenwolf looking armored up Demigorgon dog, or I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm hearing Night Begins to Shine play in my head while I look at this. And that's could be a good thing? I don't know. Because I really do like that song. But should I be reading this? This I'm kind of on the fence about because does it go past the silly and become cool again? Does it cross that threshold? Or is it just as silly as this looks to me? I don't know. So that's why I put this here. Because to be fair, I haven't read issue 2 to know where we're getting at here with issue 3 in this off-world storyline. I mean, it is Jason Aaron, so I should be have a little more faith. But I still kind of feel a little weird about some of these because I just get tired of all these alternate universe, death metal, all that stuff. Yeah, it's a fun idea for a bit, and then they just really drive it into the ground. So, is this cool or not? Please, somebody tell me in the comments down below if I should be reading this, if I should take the time to go back and read this, or it's as silly as I think it might be. But our final book here in this segment, in our WTF segment, is seriously, who asked for this?
Nobody wants you here. Nobody!
I am sick and tired of these logo covers. Who cares? It's a black cover with Dr. Aphra's logo on it. Who wants this? I don't know. Thankfully, at least they didn't give us a 1 in 100 virgin version of this. That said, this is the final issue of Aphra of this run. She'll come back to something else, but Aphra 40. We'll get back to that later on, another segment. But here, don't want this. Who wants this? Who asked for these? Please stop making these black logo covers. It's just, they're not good. This is as bad as the stupid the Wednesday covers. Remember those? Ugh. Just a waste of time. You're just wasting paper. Anyway, let's get into some covers I do actually like. So we got those. Palette cleanse. Let's look at a couple things that I actually do like. Starting off with Nakayama. One of those colored bleeds I mentioned a little earlier. So we get Robin here. Pretty cool. Batman and Robin, the annual. Because again, it's DC off week, or 5th week. So we're getting an annual for Batman and Robin. Pretty cool. Oh, I got a string sticking out of my shirt. Don't mind that. Kind of like this one. I don't know if I'm going to grab it because it's $7 and it's an annual. It's like, annuals are always those pains. Like, you don't want to have to finish off when you're doing like run collecting. It's like, now I got to go collect all the annuals because they're usually more expensive and thicker. And then just like 1 or 2 stories that might be okay. And there's a lot of filler and I don't know. I'm on the fence about annuals. I do like this David Aja cover because I do like Aja and I like Shang-Chi. So this is one I'm definitely, well, I'm also going to read this because I like Shang-Chi, but Gang War, Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, number 2. Yeah, pretty cool. Looks like he's fighting one of, some of the crazy 88 from Kill Bill. I don't know. Kind of fun. Also kind of fun. Like, I didn't think I would like these, but they kind of snuck past me. Meaning I didn't talk about them before, but we're going to talk about it here. So, Spider-Boy, number 3. Honestly, I don't care about Spider-Boy. I just still don't. I don't know. I've tried to pick it up, I tried to read it, and I just really just don't care. I don't know. It's just one of those things I just can't connect with it. It just again, if I'm wrong, please push me into giving it a fair shot. Maybe I'm not giving it a fair shot because I didn't like the idea of it, and maybe that's holding me back. But I just can't get on board. It's just not hooking. Like I'm trying. That said, Marvel Comics presents variants. Weird. I didn't know what these were. It's like, but well, obviously you can see he's reading a recent book. He's reading Avengers Twilight. It's kind of like a weird fourth wall breaking kind of thing going on here. But they've been doing this, and I didn't notice that this is a series of covers that they're doing. Eventually have to collect them all into a short, probably. But for now, I did notice that we've gotten two more the past couple of months. And what's more interesting is they seem to be doing it on just specific issues. Here, just to get back to it. So Immortal Thor #3, you got him reading Marvel Gods back in October. And then in December, we got She-Hulk. It looks like she was reading, what the heck was I can't even make out what she was reading. She might be reading her own book, or it could be a timeless. I'm not sure. But you got She-Hulk in December reading another book. But the thing that kind of stood out to me about these is like, they're all issue 3s. Like they're only doing these Marvel Comics Presents on issue 3s. I don't know why, but it looks like that's the case. That's a trend that I'm seeing off of these books. So it's weird, right? And then I looking ahead, are we getting another one of these coming up? And we are. And granted, this cover's not complete, so you don't get to see what she's reading, or that this is an issue 3, but this is an issue 3 for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. So the third issue of this book, which will come out, I think, in April, will be another one of these Marvel Comics Presents, and she will be reading some other comics, but we just don't know what they are yet. But it's weird, right? Why issue 3? I don't know. But I found it interesting and thought I would share. That said, another thing that I learned, again, I was late to the party on this. You saw there's October and December, and I didn't catch on it. But now I caught it. I caught what they're doing. They're doing like a theme. I also didn't really. I think Bruce told me they were doing this, but I just didn't notice it. But I do have an interlocking cover that I'm going to tell you now that we have the last part of it. I think part of it is because I didn't notice because I really don't like this series. I just didn't like the story. And that's this Titans Beast World, which is thankfully ending. But issue 6 is coming out this week. Titans Beast World, Bjorn Barons. I do like Barons' art. Not loved these Titans, again, these Beast World covers. They've been okay. But I think also I'm a little biased because I just don't like the story. I'm just waiting for it to be over. But I didn't notice, or maybe I just blocked it out, that this actually is a connecting cover set. These B covers or C cover, whatever it is. It's an open order variant, but they do connect. This is issue 6. And if you get all 6 of them, you get a whole big run here. They all go together. I don't know if I noticed that until now. So I'm telling you about it now, here at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Again, a couple of the Starfires are kind of okay, and the Donna Troy, but there's also something a little off about it. I don't know. Maybe it's the background is just a little too muted. The Starro stuff in the back, like maybe if Starro was like more of a bright pink or something, just made it pop a little bit more, rather than just gray. It just looks muddy, just vague bleh, background. I don't know. Something that's just not connecting with me, whether it be a story that I don't like, the background that's kind of meh, but it still is a connecting cover set. So if you are one of those collectors that do like these, and I do like these, but I'm probably not getting this one. This is out there. So all 6 covers. Man, we're almost 40 minutes in. I still got a couple more segments for you. Cheesecake covers. I know a lot of you, this might be your favorite segment because you like looking at these. I like looking at them too. That's why the segment's here. Cheesecake covers. Obviously, today we're going to start off with the Zenoscope stuff, these Grim Fairy Tales, because, man, it's every week. They just throw piles and piles of covers at you. No idea what's going on inside these books. I don't even know if they're actually comic books or not. It could just be blank pages inside. I wouldn't know the difference. But this week we're getting Grim Fairy Tales presents Cinderella Princess of Death #1. They can't make these titles any longer if they tried. We got a cover, I guess it's cover A. It doesn't matter where these fall. There's 4 covers that are cover price versions. Pretty cool. You got Ivan Tao, and we got all these, different covers for you. And the one in the middle, watch this. there is a variant of it that's a 1 in 20. We just do a quick little change in the look of the face. You see that too? So it's not just the outfit change, it's also the look and the smirk. I'll go back. Like, she's looking more straight on here. She's more looking up into the left. She's listing lazily to the left. But this is a 1 in 20. Just like I said with the those Oni books, that killer book or whatever. Yeah, the higher ratio incentives, there might not be many of these out there because I don't know how many people order these. But just because there aren't that many doesn't automatically mean that they're valuable. But you never know. Sometimes these things catch, and then it becomes impossible to find. I'm still looking for one of my, I don't want to say grail books, but one of my wish list books is still a Zenoscope book, and that's that Bridgewater Triangle, David Nakayama, which is kind of dressed up like Wednesday Addams a little bit. That's still a book that I want. Still looking, still hunting. And even at the prices that it usually goes for, it goes for a couple $100 usually when it does sell, it just doesn't come up often. So I haven't even had the opportunity. I think I missed the last one or two that came up for auction. But that said, point being, if you're interested, get it. If not, no worries. We all could just look and move on to the next book, like we're doing right now. Grim Fairy Tales number 80. Yeah, it's still running the regular series. We got a cover A, then we got a couple other options here. B, C's, D's. Keep your eye on the one in the middle because, yes, there is another incentive to be had here. Another 1 in 20. Move the face paint. Change the outfit a little bit. 1 in 20. We also have this. Grim Fairy Tales presents Oz Kingdom of the Lost number 3. Whew. Toto's a big wolf. You got a big lion in the background. You got Scarecrow. They're, weaponized versions of the Wizard of Oz, I guess. And then we've got more covers to be had, including, that Carla Cohen in the middle. It's pretty cool. Oh, that is creepy looking Scarecrow lady over there. But I still put it in here just because I didn't want to have the empty spot. And then, I guess it's Glenda. I don't know. Good witch, I guess. But we have these two. And that's not all. Yes, that's 3 different books we already have for this week with multiple covers. We have one left. Holmes and Houdini, who I guess I'm just going to assume maybe they're descendants or they're just gender swap versions of Sherlock Holmes and Harry Houdini. I don't know, but we're getting this too. And with this, we are not only getting this cover, we are getting these as well. That one in the middle is that newer artist. Why am I blanking on the name again? It's like Sarah Matt something. I'm sorry. In the comments, please help me out again, like you did last week. But it's really cool. I like the idea of the kind of pressed up against the glass inside the the underwater escape thing. It's kind of cool, right? And you got another Ivan Dow over there, and I'm guessing that's Sherlock or that's Holmes. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know the setup here. Which one's Holmes? Which one's Houdini? Point being, we've got these multiple covers, and we have more because we have those incentives. So keep an eye on the one in the middle. Even though she's pressed up against the glass here on the regular, she's not. Well, no, she's pressed up against the glass again here too. Okay, so they're all pressed up against the glass, but this different outfit here on a 1 in 20. And for you randier collectors out there, you can really spend up and get the 1 in 75, which they black barred it, so not suitable for work cover. And I'm assuming maybe another glass press there. Don't know because it's blocked. But 1 in 75, like I said, can't be that many of them, but who knows what that means. I doubt we'll see this sell this week on the on eBay. But I'm going to keep looking because I'm curious to see what a 1 in 75 of this Holmes and Houdini number 1 would go for on the aftermarket, or if eBay would even allow it, because sometimes they do block this stuff because of the the nudity. That said, and kind of keeping on to this point, we do have Somna, so Distillery still running through with some more suggestive type covers. Pretty cool. Bedtime story, if you're into it. I think vampires, I think that's kind of the vibe here. But this is a cover price one. And then there are some other options here as well. With a 1 in 25 on a 1 in 50. I think the 1 in 25 is Tedesco. That's kind of fun. And it's Tedesco, which I like Tedesco. And then there's a black bag Tula Lotte that's also a not suitable for work cover. So I'm assuming it's going to get delivered in a black bag or a paper bag. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a fun idea too. A nice little thing, you keep it covered and you can still sell. Just saying, these are options. What will be out there? All right. So outside of that, we are also getting Fearless Dawn. So Steve Mannion, if I'm saying his name right. I do like this cover. I think these were available originally as part of the Kickstarter, and now they're rolling their way into shops. So issue 3, the third thrilling issue of Fearless Dawn. Dig it. There's there's a couple of covers here, but the two that I liked were this one, and then we have this bubble space helmet thing going here. I'm assuming this is also just kind of like a sketch cover. So there's probably no trade dress and all that. I haven't seen the final product, so I'm just assuming that's what this will end up looking like. But I dig the art and I kind of like it. So if you can find one, go get it. I didn't put all the covers here for Sirens of the City, but this one kind of felt like it kind of fit into this, the cheesecakey vibe with the skirt and the pose. And there's also this is issue 6, and then there's a 1 in 10 that's a virgin version of this, which it's all right because of the implication of the shadow. So it doesn't feel like as much dead space. And it is kind of balanced in that it's a half and half split. So normally I would yell about, where's the trade dress? It doesn't fit. This one's not as bad, but, still 1 in 10. If you're interested, go for it. Once again, we do have Dark Ride number 10. I'm not showing you all the covers, just the one that kind of felt like it fit this section. And we got the little bit of a little the lace and the fishnet kind of going on. So it kind of fits this section here. There is, we'll get to it later. There is an incentive for that book too. We'll get to the incentive section next. But finally, I think going to wrap us up in our cheesecake segment is that we got to do Power Girl, because we're getting Power Girl Uncovered number 1. And no, it's not what you think. It's uncovered because I don't know why they call it uncovered, but it's all the covers. So it's just a book of covers. So we're getting multiple covers on a book of covers. Yeah, we talked about this before. A couple of the DC titles have done this, the Birds of Prey, etc. But here we go with Power Girl selling us a book of her covers. And on top of that, there are multiple covers for this cover book. Here's cover A, Villalobos, not bad. There's a B, and then there's a C. Not really loving that. It's just, I don't know. And then there's a foil version, Josh Swaby. There are options there if you're interested. And there's even incentives from a 1 in 25 and a 1 in 50 on this book as well. They're actually not. I would have assumed that these would have sold better. I think maybe they would have swapped some of these covers or mixed them around. It might have been a different story, but these two just don't seem to be moving on the market. So ratio or less. Speaking of ratios, I think that's what we have for our last segment here. Some incentives for us to cover. Starting off with, like I said, I mentioned Dark Ride. There is a 1 in 25, as we've seen plenty of these like animated and Disney movie posters on Dark Ride. Here we have Iron Giant, if you don't recall. So Iron Giant cover here. Pretty cool. Not many out there and not many selling, but did find one pre-sale for double, one asking for double. So $50, one sold, $50, one available. If you're interested, 1 in 25, maybe you find this at your shop. Yeah, maybe you can double up. Just saying. I'm going to jump ahead. Usually I save the higher incentive ratios for last, but I wanted to get into this because this is another thing I was a little late to catching on to. This week, we are getting Avengers Twilight number 2. I didn't cover it anywhere else in the other sections because it really not isn't a reader book for me. I'll probably try to read it, flip through it, check it out, but it's not a must read. And there weren't really any covers that really jumped out at me. Even this one, it's all right. I think this is a Noto. But Iron Man, Lightning. There is a regular trade dress version of this, but this is the 1 in 200. Now, 1 in 200 incentive, very high ratio, very hard to qualify for. But I didn't realize that this was a theme because last month for issue 1, they also had a Lightning cover, and it was the Frank Miller one. I thought that was because they were doing the Dark Knight callback. I didn't realize they were going to do a whole thing with Lightning on these books throughout this series in these 1 in 200 ratio incentives. So it looks like they are, because there's issue 1, Lightning, issue 2, Iron Man, Lightning, and then I saw, looking ahead to issue 3, which will come out in a few weeks, Lightning, Ms. Marvel. So I guess that's a thing. So if you're down with these lightning covers, there will be trade dress versions and 1 in 200 incentive versions. Speaking of which, I did not see any sales yet for this 1 in 200, and there is only one listed at the time of when I was putting this deck together, and they wanted $300. So we'll see if that actually sells or not. If it does, then it's at a premium. If it doesn't, well, no books are selling. The 1 in 100 on the Frank Miller one isn't doing all that much, so I don't imagine this one to catch fire either. But keeping an eye on it just in case. All right, so I wanted to get through that because that's another thing that I kind of missed the first time out. Didn't know we were getting a theme running across these books. So I like to identify themes, and I like to share it with you guys when I do. So there you go. Lightning covers. Avengers Twilight. I just like this Ryan Brown Carnage. This is just a cool cover. I might look to get one if I can find one at a cheap price. So 1 in 25, Carnage number 3. I just like it. I don't know. This is pretty cool. It's right at you, right in your face. So I just slipped this one in here. But our next, and I think our last book, mentioned Afra before. There is a 1 in 25. I think it's the Ben Harvey. This is a 1 in 25 on the final issue of this run. You don't generally see a lot of final issues getting the incentive treatment like this, but I guess they're trying to make it an event for Afra, and then we'll get another new number 1 coming. I mean, this is volume, 2? 3? I think 2. I think it's just volume 2, right? Anyway, 1 in 25 here is already doing, can't say already doing because I didn't actually find sales yet, but the asking prices for this, $55, $70, $100 for this 1 in 25. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on. I get a little wary when you're not seeing sales, but you got high asks. But again, I wasn't prepared. I didn't know there because Afra hasn't been doing 1 in 25s in a while. So I think this is coming out of the blue. I don't think a lot of people were prepared for it. So there were probably a lot of pre-listings for it. Don't know if a lot of shops ordered enough to qualify for this. We will see. Just hopefully you don't buy that stupid logo cover one. Just don't want to see those anymore. That said, we'll be keeping an eye on this as the week goes on, as well as all the rest of the books we already went over. But that is it for me this week. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Yeah, 50 minutes was a long time for me sitting here talking to myself. But yeah, I do it every week. So hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully you find it helpful. Hopefully you like this little bit of a rundown. Again, I mentioned a lot of things I'm asking for your guys' opinions on. Please tell me in the comments down below. I could use some help with some of these things. I can't read everything. I don't know everything that's good. So if there are good things and there are things that I'm missing, things you think I should be keeping an eye on, putting on this list, like whether it be covers or artists that I should be mindful of, stories I should be reading, etc. Let me know. Make your suggestions. I'm just a collector and reader just like you. I'm open to it, and I'll spread the word if I can. If I like it, I'll spread the word. If I don't like it, well, there's no guarantee because I'm not going to tell people to buy junk if I don't actually think it's good. I mean, if you want to buy junk because you like junk, go ahead, but I'm not going to push you to do it. That all said, I think I've talked enough. Make sure you come back tomorrow where I should have a new show. I want to try out a new kind of theme show for you guys and see what you think. But with that, we'll have the tax show on Wednesday live. Make sure you come back for that. And then all the other shows here on the channel. Again, still enjoying putting all this content out for you. Hopefully you're still having fun with us. And I'll see you all soon. All right, later.